this is the room tour. Something slight. Got a safe. Got some drawers. Got a little bit of closet space. Typical iron hangers. This is the view from the door. Got a full-length mirror. Small little bathroom. Can't see me because I look a hot mess. No bath, but the shower is decent size. And let's check out the room. Cool little mini bar. Oh look, they gave me a gift. Just kidding. I went to Zara. Cool little view. Okay, I'm on the 19th floor, so yes, we get a little city view. Not the best, but it's decent, and I'm sure at night the sky lights up. Alrighty, and here is my king size bed. Now I'm liking that wraparound with the little couch. That's cute. But yes, this is where I, myself, alone, solo, will be for the next 4 days. Woohoo! guys, I am panicking like crazy right now. I am so afraid of heights. I don't do roller coasters, and for some reason I decided to do this, and this thing is scary. But I'm doing it for you guys. I'm taking one for the team. Well, look at these views though. Beautiful.
There's 6 beers on tap, 3 of them are local. I'd imagine it tastes good, but I guess I wouldn't really know. It's actually too local. So feel free to head back there. Card only. We're getting not as good as the bees we're getting, but pretty good. So a great way to get to work. That's how I get to school. You have to recommend a trip on the Brown Line, maybe around the loop. You'll get a good idea of downtown area of Chicago. Alright. Talk about the one on the right hand side. It's a gigantic limestone building. Huge. Designed by a world-famous architect with his roots right here in Chicago, a man by the name of Adrian Smith. We call Adrian Smith the tallest architect in the world, not because of his height, but because he designs some of the tallest buildings in the world, including the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. I'll be back on like in a few seconds with live music architecture. Tour, I want to help you answer the question, what makes Chicago so great, besides the fact that I live here, of course. If you're familiar with the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off, you might recognize this line: life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you can miss it. Well, we have to remember that Ferris Bueller's Day Off isn't just another movie from the 80s. It is John Hughes' love letter to Chicago. So today, I want us to stop and look around, because I think that we'll find in the windows on buildings constructed in eras gone by and sewn into the fabric of our city's flag is a rich history of the city that I have fallen in love with. A city of underdogs, where a baseball team on a 108-year losing streak can win the World Series, go Cubbies, or a young community organizer on the south side of Chicago can become the first African-American president of the United States. A city that sleeps because we know what's good for us.
bite you. We're vegetarian.
Yes. Can't give us 20, give us 210.
210.
Can't give us 210.
All right, Ron. You've been good to me. Deuces. We out. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Peace Jones. Don't forget to like, to comment, and to subscribe. Share my videos, share them with your family, with your friends, with your coworkers. Just share them. All right, guys, let's get right into it, okay? So as you know, I just took another solo trip to Chicago. It was so much fun, okay? It definitely exceeded my expectations. Definitely highly recommend it, but I want to get into some tips for you guys, okay? So let's start with the vibe, okay? So the city definitely has a vibe of its own. I'm from the DMV area, so the two closest cities to me are DC and Baltimore, and both of them have like a, I'm not gonna say similar vibe because they're totally different, but they have like a very like action-packed city, hustle and bustle, very quick type of vibe. You know, it has like the downtown area where you work. It has like different areas where you can party and things like that, right? With New York, I would say it's very similar. You have the hustle and bustle of the city, you have the shopping, you have the downtown area where everyone works, but you also have like a bunch of like clubs and areas that are very visible to people just coming through or whatever, right? I would say Chicago is a little bit different. So the first thing that I realized about Chicago is how freaking gorgeous it is. It is so pretty. It almost looks like you're not in the US. Like it kind of gives me like Italy, maybe like Rome. Like the architecture is just freaking drop dead gorgeous. So I would say that's the number one difference. I also noticed that it's extremely clean for a city. I don't know whether that's something that they work on or whether the people there are just a lot cleaner, but it's very, very clean for a city. Not much litter. Even their like streets are a lot cleaner than ours. Like a lot of our pavement is like damn near black. So yeah, I noticed that as well. And for a city, people are very aware. When I say aware, I mean like they're aware of the people around them. People were very friendly and nice. There were a few times where I looked up, even from the crosswalk all the way across the street, and saw people like smiling or waving. Almost every person I walked past spoke to me. So I thought that was really nice. It's a very homely feel for a big city. And one thing I can say is I remember telling one of my friends, when I moved, I was like, you know, I really wanted a condo in downtown DC, you know, the bachelorette life. You can go to work, then you can go party, blah, blah, blah. But then I was like, you know what? When I settle down, do I really want to raise a family in DC? Like, I just couldn't see that. You know what I mean? But Chicago, I could see that. I feel like it's very much so a city, but it's very, very family oriented. It definitely has that hustle and bustle, but it has a very like calm, slow pace family type of side to it. So yeah, it's just really an interesting city. Definitely you should go check it out for yourself. Okay, so another thing that I notice about it is that everything opens late. Okay, you can go to Baltimore City at 6 a.m. You'll be able to find some food. Might not be the best food, might not be fine dining, but you'll be able to find some food. Same with DC. Any time of day, any time of night, you'll be able to find something, right? Chicago, my flight landed super, super early. Like, I think I landed at like 7. And I was just looking for like a quick bite to eat, maybe something to drink, whatever. And literally nothing open until like 11. Now, mind you, I was in downtown Chicago. So maybe in the outskirts and other areas, things are more available and accessible. But nothing was open until 11 a.m. And then even still, it was like, slow pace opening, kind of got to warm up, get their restaurant going and flowing. So I don't even think I ate my first meal that day until like 3. And it actually wasn't even a meal. It was like an appetizer. But yeah, just keep that in mind, guys. You might, if you have an early flight, want to pack some extra snacks just because it's hard to find food in the downtown area before 11 a.m. Okay, so then let's talk about where to stay. Okay, you should definitely 183,000% stay downtown. Okay, I know when I first started solo traveling, that was a mistake that I made. My very first solo trip domestically was New Orleans. And I remember thinking like, oh, I'll get a hotel that's like, on the outskirts, something closer to the airport, something that's not in the city. Somehow in my mind, I thought I would be saving money that way. Please don't ask me why or how I came to that conclusion, but it was so wrong. Okay, I stayed in Metairie, Louisiana. And that's like literally 15 minutes outside of New Orleans. And so every time I wanted to go to like downtown, like the Bourbon Street area or like the French Quarter, I had to get an Uber. Every Uber one way was at least $25, if not $26, $28, along those lines. So you can imagine if I'm going down there every day, I was paying a pretty penny, okay? And it really just didn't benefit me in the end because there was really nothing in that Metairie area other than restaurants. So I could have just went and stayed downtown, been in a hotel that probably would have been a lot nicer and way more accessible. I could have walked a lot more places instead of catching Uber and spending all this money. So that was the one thing I learned. And when I went to Chicago, I stayed in the downtown area. It was perfect. Okay, Chicago is an extremely walkable city. I honestly would say Chicago's more walkable than DC or Baltimore. And once again, I'm speaking of those two because those are the closest to me. Chicago was very easy to understand. The streets, DC can be confusing. You got like 10 different 10th Avenues or 10 different Martin Luther Kings or 10 different, like, it's just hard to understand DC. Then you got to go up by the number and go down by the street. And then you got northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast. It's just so much to like get acclimated to. In Chicago, it was very easy. I'm pretty bad at direction, but I was able to memorize like a lot of places just coming from my hotel. Yeah, you take this road, you take this street, whatever, and you almost can't get lost. Like, I feel like you'll go in a circle or like a square before you would ever get lost. Like, everything is just connected. It's just very easy to maneuver, very, very walkable. One thing I did notice is that they don't have where I am from in the DMV, we have like these little push things that you have to push if you want to cross the street. And it kind of, I guess, like alerts the system that there's a pedestrian trying to cross. But they don't have those in Chicago. So the system already is like set up to where as though they give the pedestrians an opportunity to cross. So that was really nice. You didn't have to keep on pressing the little thing. And then another thing I did notice that I kind of got in trouble with is they have this thing where sometimes it's not just the pedestrian white little walk sign. Sometimes you can cross, but the light will be blinking I think like red, but then it'll have like some green sign or something like that. I kind of forgot how it was, but you can walk then too. But I didn't really quite understand that. So I started walking one time and I wasn't supposed to. And this lady like got really upset with me. And I'm just like, hey, I'm not from here. I didn't know the road rules, but definitely walkable city. Definitely they yield to their pedestrians. And yeah, it's pretty cool to stay downtown and not really have to Uber everywhere. I walked to a nightclub one night. I walked to eat pretty much everywhere I ate. I walked just around downtown to shop, like everywhere. Very walkable. But that definitely does mean bring some walking shoes, okay? Then let's talk about transportation a little bit further. So I just went over walking. Uber was not that expensive, surprisingly. If you catch an Uber in the DMV area, I mean, even for a distance of 10 to 15 minutes, that can run you $20. In New Orleans, that was running me over $20. LA, pretty expensive. Where did I go recently? Las Vegas. Golly, we don't even want to talk about that, okay? But for Chicago to be a big sprawling city, their Uber prices were very decent. I think I paid as little as like $5 or $4 for an Uber, and my most expensive one was about $41, and that was my trip back from the hotel to the airport. And just to let you guys know, their airport is like 36 minutes, I think, from the downtown area. So it's quite a little drive, just to let you know. If you were considering like staying closer out that area, I would not recommend that because it's a considerable distance from the airport to the downtown area. And even still, I felt like $41 for an Uber for about 40 minutes. It just wasn't that bad. I think for that distance back in the DMV, it could have ran me 60, maybe even more, okay? So their prices just weren't that bad. Didn't have any bad run-ins with the Uber drivers. They were all super nice, super patient. I got left so many times in Florida, in New Orleans, in Las Vegas. Those Uber drivers were not playing. Like, they were nasty. They were getting mad at me. Some of them weren't speaking English on the phone, so I couldn't even understand them. Then they would hang up. They would cancel the trip. No. The Uber drivers in Chicago were very flexible, very nice, very understanding. And I actually had one guy like go above and beyond, because I was at this area called, I think like Lincoln Park or something, and they have like a bunch of bars down there. And for whatever reason, they blocked off like all the roads at night. And so I was trying to get an Uber, and he kept saying he was at this place, and I kept saying I didn't see him. And he literally like drove around and around, like came up behind the cops, you know, parked in an area behind the barricade so that I could see him. And he spent like a good maybe 5 to 10 minutes just, you know, trying to find me. So I tipped him for that. And I just thought that was really nice, because in a city, you're not really going to find that. So Uber is a great option other than walking. In some places, obviously, you can't walk, so you want to use Uber. They also have public transportation. They have trains and they have buses. I did not try that out just because I'm not very familiar with trains. I could have done the bus, but I felt like, do I feel like learning this bus route? Like, for me, walking was just a great option, and then Uber as well, okay? But they do have that if you want to take a train ride or a bus ride. Now, on to food. So let's talk food and food prices. Food prices, I felt like, were pretty reasonable, especially because the food was great. I did not have any food that I didn't really like. I ate at Portillo's or Portillo's. They're famous for their Chicago dog. They also have this thing called like the hot Italian beef or something like that, which was really good as well. That's kind of like street food. It's not very expensive. I think it was $12 for the hot Italian beef, fries, and a drink. And then it was like maybe $8 for the hot dog, fries, and a drink. I also had Shaw's Seafood, or Shaw's Crab House. I'm sorry. Food was everything and more. I had scallops, I had shrimp, I had mashed potatoes, I had spinach, and I had a crab cake with like this butter garlic sauce. So good. I think that was like $50. And I also had a Caesar salad with it. I think that was like $50. But it was more of like a dining type of restaurant rather than like a to-go, so it was totally worth it. I don't know about you guys, but good seafood is always worth the money. Had a few other things, but like I said, everything was pretty reasonable and very good. Okay. Oh yes, I did have the Chicago deep dish pizza, guys, and I could not finish it, so I gave the rest away. For entertainment, okay, so I noticed that a lot of their entertainment for a city, it does not jump out at you. Okay, I think if you drive through DC at night, you can pretty much see where the party is at, right? Even if you have no clue what you're looking for and you're not from here. If you drive around DC at night, you're going to figure out where the clubs are, where the party is. Same with Baltimore, same with, I would say, maybe LA, things like that. But Chicago, I noticed that things are kind of like hidden gems tucked away in little pockets. Some things you wouldn't even know from the outside that it's popping or whatever, right? So I did my research online. I actually looked up like lounges, nightclubs, and rooftops before I came out. But I kind of got into a little rut because I felt like, okay, once I was out there, I kept wanting one vibe, but then like finding things for another vibe, right? So I think one night I wanted more of like a party vibe. Like I kind of really wanted to turn up. I wanted some more like, hip hop, rap type of music, that type of vibe, right? But I kept coming across places that were more like upscale, just like a nice martini at the rooftop, just sitting, vibing. And then when I'd be looking for that, I could only find like a little artsy, like not so great type of bar. You know what I mean? But I ended up finding this place called Wang's, which was super, super cute. Love the decor. It was like an Asian inspired place. It was in that Lincoln Park area that I spoke of. And it was really nice. It was a typical bar. They had decent music, but it wasn't like a rah-rah, like everybody's dancing type of thing. But they had great drinks. The food was good. And it was just a really cute little vibe. Then one night I went to Utopian Tailgate, which from my understanding, it does get pretty lit in there. I think that they have like another section higher up on the rooftop than I was. Supposedly they have a brunch, but it's just a super cute theme. Very bright, very like punk, very cute. I got the tacos in the bag there, which was so good. Their drinks were pretty good. They're like fun drinks with like the little shark gummies in it and things like that. They do have one drink that's in a huge red Solo cup, which I wanted, but you have to have 4 people in order to get it, I guess because of the alcohol content. But yeah, definitely would recommend that. Then I went to Joy District. Now that's a real nightclub. Like if you want to go get lit, if you want to dance, if you want to hear some good music, like really the club scene, go to Joy District. So they have like the typical club and then they have like a rooftop. So for the rooftop, I think you have to pay more and then you can go up and you get your stamp and you just party or whatever. I actually didn't pay for mine. They just gave me a stamp. And I went up and I ended up meeting a girl up there that came by herself too. She was also, well, she was from Chicago though, but she came by herself. So we linked, we were talking, we were dancing, we had a good time. A few guys bought us some drinks. So I didn't spend any money in there, surprisingly. I didn't pay to get in. I didn't pay for the rooftop. I didn't pay for any of my drinks. I think I had like 3 shots and maybe like 2 actual drinks. So that was really fun. I'd imagine if you do pay, it could be maybe like 50, maybe like I would say like $30 to $50 for the entry fee and the rooftop fee. But supposedly they closed down the rooftop after a while. It felt early to me. I feel like they closed it maybe at like 12:30 and then, or maybe 1, and then everybody had to come back downstairs to the dance floor, like that club area. But yeah, that's a little bit early in my opinion. But I mean, it was still fun. Once they closed down the rooftop, I actually ended up leaving because I didn't want to like club. I'm not really a big clubber, but I do like a good vibe, okay? So yes, that's pretty much entertainment in a nutshell. It's not going to jump out at you. You are going to have to Google things. You are going to have to find the vibe that you want or that you like the most. If you are more of like a chill, classy type of vibe, they have a bunch of really nice high-end rooftops where you can just overlook the city, have a nice drinking vibe. vibe. If you're more of a chill kind of like out the way bar scene, like I said, Wang's would probably be good for you. But they also have a lot of bars on the South Loop where you can just kind of like chill, lay back, and I guess have a good time. The North area I feel like is more like poppin'. The South Loop I feel like is more like laid back, chill, like more residential. And then if you're looking for like an actual party scene, I know Joy District is good. And then I can't even remember the other clubs that that the girl was telling me about. But if you actually look up like nightclubs in downtown Chicago, you'll be able to find them. And I did walk to Joy District. Don't worry, I had my little sandals and I was carrying my heels until I got to the club. But it was literally like right around the corner from my hotel. And just to let you guys know, I don't think I mentioned it, I stayed at the Marriott Downtown Magnificent Mile. There is, I believe, at least one more Marriott downtown, so make sure you choose the right one. The Marriott Downtown Magnificent Mile is super nice, perfect location. It's literally like right across the street from Eddie V's, which I ended up going to their happy hour, which was super nice. It is like right there next to the shops in that district, literally walking distance from Millennium Park, walking distance from the Riverwalk. Like, it is perfect. Okay, now let's talk about the shopping tax for the bags. So I did not realize that they do this. I think they do this at some places in DC, if I'm not mistaken. My friend said they do this at some places in Canada. And I'm sure, you know, all over the country they have different states that do this. But Chicago taxes for their plastic bags. So if you go into a store and you buy an armful of food, they're going to ask you, do you need a bag? Because they charge, the girl corrected me and said they tax for the bag. So you actually do have to pay 10 cents for every shopping bag. And I did not know that. And I went to Trader Joe's and I had like an armful of stuff. And the guy was like, do you need a bag? And I'm thinking like, yeah, like, do you think I'm just going to carry all this stuff in my arms? And he was like, no, like, you know, there's actually like a tax for the bag. And I went to H&M, had all these things, same thing. The lady was like, you know, they charge for the bag. So I was like, okay, that's an interesting note. So the way that they solve that issue is they carry these tote bags. So any tote will work. You know, they have them online for $4. I think Marshall's has some that you can get for cheap. Pretty much any place. I'm sure you guys have one laying around your house. Just a simple canvas tote bag that you can just put your stuff in. That way you don't have to worry about, you know, paying for a bag every single place that you go. And you'll see a lot of people walking around with the totes or whatever. All right, so let's talk about excursions. So I did the architecture river cruise, and that might have been it. Felt like I did something else, but that might have been it. But they have a few different excursions that you can take advantage of. You can do the kayaking, you can do the architecture river cruise, you can do, I think there's a different type of boat cruise. I think there's like a sunset dinner cruise. There's a speedboat thing. You can go to the top of one of the buildings and there's like a sky deck where you can walk out and just like overlook the city. All of the excursions that I used were on Viator, Viatar, and I just booked online. And, you know, they send you all the information. They send you a meeting point and you go and you fulfill your dreams, your excursion dreams. The architecture river cruise was super amazing. I don't know if I'm just a nerd, but that architecture was breathtaking, mind-blowing. I mean, gorgeous. Okay, so if you're into those types of things, into any type of art, you're gonna love it. The river itself was just beautiful. I love the water. I love boats, so I enjoyed that part. And the tour guide, Evan, he was super knowledgeable. It's nothing like going on a tour and the tour guide is just on point. He was from Chicago, born and raised. I believe he said he went to the University of Chicago or like something like that, but he's majoring in think he said some type of history. I can't remember, but he was extremely intelligent, and it was just awesome to have somebody from Chicago who knows it inside and out and could give us every morsel of history and then some. He was amazing. Should have gave him a tip. Bad me. All right, so like I said, the people pretty nice, pretty friendly, pretty helpful. For a big city, they were definitely interactive. I actually had 2 women stop me, which was rare, and offer me help, because I think one time I was just like looking back and forth trying to figure out like where I was going, and one lady stopped me and was like, hey, you know, are you looking for something? And she gave me like perfect directions. I was like, thank you so much. And then another time I asked someone and he didn't know, and so the lady behind him heard me asking, and she was like, hey, do you need some help? Mind you, this is in like the hustle and bustle of the day where people have their own things they're trying to do, trying to get to work or wherever they're going, and they're literally stopping me, backtracking, and asking, do I need help? So I just thought that was like super nice, because I know in the DMV they don't really care. I mean, not to speak bad on us, but like, I'm from the DMV, and it's been times that I've been like lost walking somewhere in DC, and people are just like, oh, I don't know, okay, bye. You know what I mean? But yeah. So then my suggestions on what type of trip or what type of vibe this may be if you're planning a trip. I would say this was a great solo experience. I loved my time there. It's definitely enough hustle and bustle that you're not going to be bored, but it's slow pace enough that you can think, you can vibe, you can go sit in the park. Millennium Park was gorgeous. You can just walk around downtown. There's so many just scenic areas where you can kind of just like think, get your mind right, get those creative juices flowing, and just really enjoy your company. I don't know what you guys do on your solo trips, but part of me traveling solo is definitely therapeutic, whether I'm just sitting in the hotel room for a little bit, not long, because I like to use every moment of my trip, but whether I wake up early in the morning or go to sleep late and I just have some time to really think, reflect, pray, I like to do that as like a therapeutic thing. And then anytime I can find water, I actually took like a good 2 hours out and just sat and just looked at the water. They had like free fishing, so I was like watching these little kids fish and stuff, and just to really have some time to tap out of reality. Sometimes we just go and go and go, and life is just so fast paced. We're all stressed out right now, and I just think it's like a great city to just really be able to enjoy yourself. I would also say it makes a great couples trip. I think that it's like not super romantic, but the beauty is breathtaking. There's so many like nice areas to dine, nice rooftops, great pictures. I think, like I said, it's slow paced enough that you guys would have enough time to kind of like reconnect, you know, talk, do whatever couples do, but at the same time it's fast paced enough that you guys would still be able to like find things to do, find some fun, find some cool activities or whatever, right? Wouldn't necessarily recommend this for like a guys or girls trip. I feel like when you're thinking of a guys or girls trip, you're thinking of something way more upbeat, way more just like wild and crazy. So more like a Vegas or like a New York or New Orleans, something like that. Chicago, I don't think is as wild and crazy as some of those other cities if you're really looking for something to just like go all out with your girls or your guys, right? And last but not least, let's talk about how expensive the city is. To all my solo travelers that know how expensive it can get when you're literally paying for everything on your own, this is not the cheapest trip, okay? Now, don't get me wrong. I like to do everything on my trip. So maybe I create more bills for myself because I just like to have fun. I like to take advantage of the city. I like to pretend that I'm never coming back or I might not ever get back. So I literally try and do everything that I can. So it wasn't as cheap as I thought it may have been, but that could have very well been just because I was doing everything, eating everything, going everywhere, right? But if you're looking for like a super quick weekend trip, I would probably say this isn't your cheapest option. Honestly, I think that New York is pretty cheap. But then again, I eat like a lot of street food in New York, so I usually don't even spend money on too much. Yeah, so this isn't as expensive as Vegas, but it's not as cheap as I would say like New York or maybe like Philly or something like that. But it's well worth it. I don't regret it at all. Like I said, I had a ball. As far as shopping, one thing I did notice is that in most big cities, because I love to find bargain deals, so I'll always go to like the clearance rack in most big cities, and I can say they do not really have clearance out here in Chicago. Now, this could just be because they're the downtown stores and they're just thought to be like bringing in more wealthy customers or people that don't mind paying the full price. But it seems as if all their stores have like that season and that season only. So there's no like clearance racks. There's no oh, this is last season shoes, or you know, go through this rack and you can maybe find a discount type of thing. I went in Zara, I went in H&M, I went in Forever 21. Think I went in maybe like 2 more stores, can't remember, but they all pretty much had like just that season, no discounts, no clearance. H&M did have like a very small clearance area, and I think I got like some earrings, and that was it. They really didn't have much to select from, whereas I've been to LA and one of their largest malls has like a huge clearance section. Their Aldo has a huge clearance section. The H&M in Fort Lauderdale was wicked. Like so many great steals for so cheap. New Orleans, DC, like pretty much everywhere you'll be able to find those clearance racks and those deals within the store. But for whatever reason, Chicago was not like that. So like I said, it could have just been the time that I came. It could have just been the fact that it's the downtown stores, or it could just be that Chicago just doesn't operate like that. But yeah, that's just something to think about. Maybe you guys don't care because maybe you only shop at high-end places and you expect to spend full price. But that is that. I believe that I covered everything. It was an awesome city, an awesome trip. I definitely recommend it. Highly recommend it for solo travel. Highly recommend it for like a couples trip. And yeah, you guys check it out. Don't forget to like this video. Like the video. See that thumbs up? Like it. Comment below. Let me know what you think. Ask me any questions you have. Subscribe to the channel because we got a lot more footage coming soon. And share my videos. Share them in your travel groups. Share them with your friends. Share them with your coworkers. Share them with your family. Share the content. Let's get it out there, okay? And I'll see you guys very soon because like I said, I got more content coming, all right? You guys have a great day. Peace.